Now, of course, the DHS IG looked at all of this and said, oh, it was all innocent. They weren't asking for sensitive data. I don't know. Doesn't seem like that way to me, because this is the crux of the release, I think. If you want something right, do it yourself, right? And that's what the president needs to do. He can't rely on Attorney General Barr anymore. He just can't. It doesn't. I keep on going back, and I guess it's irrelevant because I like a lot of people who I disagree with. You know, because I'm sure Barr and I would have a very friendly discussion about how things have been going, right? And I'm sure he'd be very persuasive on some points, but it's just the proof is in the pudding, and the pudding ain't there. So going back to the elections, we're all supposed to believe in the security of these voter machines, right? Well, wrong. We have a number of issues out there as it relates to voter machines. The first one, obviously, I go back to this Chavez controversy with Smartmatic and Dominion. What is beyond almost reason, what is beyond all reasonable doubt, is that Hugo Chavez used a computer system set up by Smartmatic, an election system, to steal an election many years ago. And the question is, are those computer systems, election computer systems that were used so easily to steal election in Venezuela, is that type of system widely being used in the United States, where it is easy to change the outcome of an election? I think it's fair to ask that question. Some people say there's evidence that actually happened. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm open to it because it happened once in Venezuela, and I'm worried it could happen again here. Why am I worried? Because I listen to the left, I guess, right? Because the left is concerned about the security of these election systems. At least they were up until it became politically inconvenient in the 2020 election cycle. I'm old-fashioned. I think, we should count ballots, kind of a paper ballot system or a machine count system, where you basically have a dumb machine that just pushes out numbers that's not connected to the internet or not connectable to the internet. But that's a whole other debate. So we have these new documents that have come out that I think are interesting in terms of context. In Georgia, Secretary Kemp at the time, who's now Governor Kemp, complained to the Department of Homeland Security that there was a scanning event or attempts to breach his security systems on his website, and he yelled at DHS about it. Brian Kemp wrote then DHS Secretary Jeh Johnson, who was Obama's secretary, and he accused DHS of, quote, an unsuccessful attempt to penetrate the Georgia Secretary of State's firewall. And it looked like there were other states that had concerns of that nature as well. So we got DHS documents showing that something did happen. Now, what they say happened was innocent. The scanning event was the result of a Federal Law Enforcement Training Center users Microsoft Office Discovery Protocol sending a packet with the options flag to the Secretary of State Georgia's site. That's a quote from the document. The minutes note that the Enterprise Security Operations Center has received requests from the National Cybersecurity and Communications Integration Center at DHS and another agency to investigate other states that have seen suspicious activity. The minutes of the discussion note that Kemp accused DHS of conducting illicit scans in at least several occasions, February 2nd, 28th, and May 23rd, and they say it was innocent. I could go into detail here, but I'm not a computer expert. You're probably not. It's available online, but I want you to read the full emails and see if you're convinced. Now, of course, the DHS IG looked at all of this and said, oh, it was all innocent. They weren't asking for sensitive data. I don't know. Doesn't seem like that way to me, because this is the crux of the release, I think. Acting Principal Deputy Chief Information Officer Gene Etzel replies to an official, because the official wrote, at this time, we cannot validate users with ease for these past timestamps, meaning these scans, due to the lack of authentication logs. Ah, isn't that interesting? So the response from this information officer, who's supposed to be responsible for being forthright with the American people, when this gets published in 4,000 in the 4 o'clock, don't say lack of logs. Say something about logs are maintained for XX days, and the events in question occurred XX days. Therefore, our logs XX days ago. Therefore, our logs are overwritten per our standard retention policy. Someone else says, FYI, please use the lens of press release and senior leaders. I'm not quite sure what that means, but it doesn't sound good. Does it sound good to you? So, as I say, the Obama DHS was caught scanning the Georgia Secretary of State's website in 2016, again, and these documents show that details about the controversy may have been overwritten. So the left has been telling us all these systems were secure when they were running the government, they were proving that they were actually willing to try to break through them. I mean, that's how I read this. I don't see anything innocent about this activity. And if you disagree with me, I mean, like I said, it's just my analysis. Go to our website and look at the documents yourselves and see if you'd agree with me or not in my analysis. So there's a lot going on. I encourage you to support Judicial Watch in our efforts here. I know there are a lot of people doing a lot of great work. Judicial Watch has been doing this work for years and years. I remember in 2000, I was in Florida with our team exposing fraud during the election there. And we've been doing that work ever since. And in addition to our work covering Obamagate, holding Hillary Clinton accountable, doing the work that no one else here in Washington is doing. So I know this time of year is big for gift giving, and I encourage you to consider Judicial Watch in your gift giving. Another way to support Judicial Watch is by buying, I don't have the book in front of me here with me, but buying our latest book, A Republic Under Assault. I tell you, it is an urgent read. If you want to know how the left is set up to steal, you can't read a better book. Plus, we expose Obamagate, and the plot against the president, the plot against our sovereignty. Details you won't find anywhere else. I encourage you to get the book, A Republic Under Assault, or go to the Judicial Watch store and buy some merchandise. That's another way to support us, or just make a donation to us directly, because no one does what Judicial Watch does to preserve and protect the Constitution and vindicate your right to know.
Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch all the latest news from Judicial Watch.